Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of CookieCast. Today on CookieCast, it's the Darkest Timeline podcast. And although it might not seem it, this was the first Darkest Timeline, and in fact the first podcast recorded of 2022. So it's got all the usuals, the games, the movies, the TV, stuff from the week it was recorded, which was just after New Year, which probably seems like a little while ago now. If you're checking us out, wherever it is, whether it's audio, video, YouTube, iTunes, wherever, please do consider subscribing. Give us a like, a share, and a comment, and we'll send some love your way. Anyway, let's get cracking. Here we go. This is CookieCast, the Darkest Timeline podcast. Hello. You alright? How you doing? You well? Good. Let me start by saying Happy New Year, which will seem strange probably 3 weeks into the new year. This is officially, let me just double check, yes, officially the first podcast recorded of 2022 on the CookieCast network. And it's me. And like I say, that's weird because you'll get this about 3 weeks into 2022 and wonder what the hell I'm on about. But hey, for those of you that tune in for the entertainment section of this podcast, congratulations, there's loads. For those of you that tune in for the My Strange Life section of the podcast, not so much. But we'll see how we get on. Obviously, we like to make time for both. Let's have a look. Right. I want to get your opinion on something, which is strange because at this point in time, this is a one-way conversation. So, staples for me at Christmas are socks, trainers. I get one pair of trainers a year unless running trainers are needed, but they're more of an ad hoc basis. So I get one pair of trainers a year and they are supposed to last me a year. Mostly that's the case. This 2021's pair of trainers, I feel they didn't quite make it, but I was still wearing them until Christmas Eve. That's okay. Look, I personally feel there is another staple in this, and that staple, I feel, is slippers. But that's a bit of a touchy subject, because Father Christmas did not bring me any slippers this year. I presume largely to do with being on the naughty list. However, and this is what I wanted to talk about, I've been secretly hoping for some wellies. I'm just going to give you a moment to digest that. As you might imagine, doing a lot of dog walking, a lot of bad weather, a lot of areas where you walk dogs, mud, grass, rain, puddles. Did I tell you about the time that we went to the woods? So I've been hoping for a pair of wellies, and that's because on multiple occasions I nearly went and bought some wellies. I was like, I'll get some, I was going to say knee high, but that sounds wrong. I was going to get some high wellies and some thick socks, and away we go. Job done. But This probably started a month before Christmas, and as most people will know, the worst time to buy yourself anything is just before Christmas, because you never know. You never know. So I resisted the urge, even though every sort of weekend I was like, take the dog for a long walk, go through this field or whatever, and, regret it coming home with wet feet and very muddy shoes. So, Christmas Day night is when I usually open my gifts. And I noticed that there was 2 large boxes. I was like, by process of elimination, one of those large boxes is probably a pair of trainers. But what's the other box? I was like, I'm kind of hoping that it's wellies. So I opened a box, had a pair of trainers in, very similar to last year's trainers. Job done. Box ticked. I was like, there's another one here. There's a big box. And I unwrapped it. And I opened the box. And I was like, holy shitballs. And this is one of those things that I'm simultaneously excited and concerned about, because it's the same thing. So, I got some walking boots, but these aren't just like, I got some walking boots. These are like, if walking boots was a car, these are a tank. And I felt some strange feelings. I was like, these things are amazing. They look like you could, I don't know, crush things with your feet. So, I'm like, they're waterproof. I was like, yes, nice. Which you would want. But these things, they're amazing. They look amazing. So, as it was, the next day rolls round. I'm super excited. Big dog walk day. Right, here we go. Let's give these puppies a try. So I get them out of the box, get them all set up and ready. I put my foot in the first one and I was like, oh man. And it was like, the only way I could describe it to the people around me was, it was like putting my foot into a sleeping bag that was like pulled tight. It was so padded, so comfortable. It's just like, oh mama. And you had to do the thing where you've got the hooky eyelet things to do the last bit of the boot, did it all up, all that. And yeah, it was like they were like walking on air. So here's the thing. Is it a sign of old age? Is it a sign of old age that I'm excited about boots? Now, as I hope I've explained, I hope I've described, these boots are amazing. I can't tell you what the make they are. They weren't, the make didn't jump out at me, but I also felt it didn't need to, because whatever make they are, they're amazing. They're awesome. They're cool. I've worn them since. Really got a feel for them on a real good another long dog walk. But I have this internal battle where I'm like, is it a sign that I'm old, that I'm excited about boots? But on the flip side, the boots are amazing and they do the job. I went out for a super muddy dog walk on Sunday. I was like slipping and sliding all over the shop. But the boots took it like a champ. And I work on the principle that there's going to be more dog walks like this in the future. So I'm just a bit like, what's going on here? Who am I right now? Now, going back, it's a weird one. Oh, actually, no. I can work it out. Oh, wow. I was going to say it was like 10 years. But it must be more than 10 years ago. It must be more like 15 years ago. I got another pair of boots for Christmas that were very exciting because they were insanely expensive. It was something I would have never bought for myself because I'd never been able to afford them because they were crazy expensive. And that was very exciting. That was a very exciting time. Wasn't overly sure about the boots at the time, but from wearing them, being able to get into them and stuff like that, grew to love them. Wore them literally to death. They basically imploded. And that's 15 years ago. So now I'm even more confused. Is it okay to be excited about boots and it not be a clear sign of old age? Do older aged people get excited about boots? What is happening here? It's confusing to me. I feel like it's some kind of weird love affair. Like, the boots are amazing, the boots are awesome, but I feel weird having this emotion towards these boots. So there you go. One man's love affair with a pair of boots. So, I want to talk about something that I've been dealing with recently. And I'm trying to get to the bottom of what it is. So, I've had this like burning desire recently to just spend my time playing computer games and eating pizza. Now, something I don't know if I've really gone through before, and I know certain people find this a strange concept, but a little while ago, I gave up eating pizza. And I gave up eating pizza for the simple reason that I love it too much. Pizza is my favourite food. And that's the problem. Pizza has been a downfall for me at many sort of points in time. And I reached a point where I realised if I was ever going to achieve the weight loss goal that I set out for me, pizza had to go. I actually physically had to go, along with other things. I've had a situation today around eating out, going to a restaurant, having a meal, and I had to refuse. I had to say, I'm sorry, I can't do that. I'll come and join you for a drink. I'm sure they sell. I'm sure they'll make a coffee, do a glass of water, whatever sort of thing. But I can't join you for a meal. Why not? Why not? I just can't do it. I can't have a meal. It was one of the first things I ever learned about losing weight. One of the first things that I ever read about or ever informed about was stop eating out. Stop eating in restaurants. Stop eating meals that you haven't prepared yourself. It also covered like going to people's houses and stuff like that. Because and it said, the point being is you're trying to live a calorie-controlled diet. You can't live a calorie-controlled diet when you can't control the calories. You don't know what a restaurant is putting into a meal in addition to what it is. So I had to stop going to restaurants. I had to stop. And as time went on, and certainly more recently, I've had to stop things like takeaways, and anything like that. Any of that sort of food has basically just had to stop. I had to stop eating pizza. I love pizza. I think we've covered that, and that is why I've stopped eating it. So that's that. No surprises to anybody right now. I also enjoy computer games. But recently I've been noticing that there's been this real urge, this real drive, this real passion to give up on everything and just play computer games non-stop. And if I need to eat something, I should eat pizza. So, here's a list of possible reasons why that might be. Number one, the scales broke. Now, this is on my list to talk about, and I'll come back to it, so we'll leave that there for now. Number two is, because Christmas has been and gone, I actually have computer games to play. Number three is the addition of the PS5 gives me a replay factor for some things. As far as like the pizza's concerned, I don't know if it's like a time of year. There were certain points in time in previous years where New Year's Eve would have been a point in time to get a takeaway. Sometimes even around Christmas Eve, before or after, all that sort of stuff, Boxing Day. In years gone by, a good few years ago, there would have probably been a point in time to have a takeaway at that point in time, have a pizza. So maybe it's just that. Maybe it's just the time of year for it. There's been a good few points in time, New Year's Eve especially, where I really had to fight the urge to not give in to that. Let's have pizza for tea. But obviously the two things together, not super healthy. Honestly, I've been struggling to keep on the straight and narrow with things like diet. Not so much the exercise, but the diet. I had a bit of a blip. I think, like I say, I will come to it, but I think it was to do with the scales breaking and the issue that came with that. Because essentially, having got new scales, I've gone backwards and like really far sort of gone backwards. And it's all of that doubt, Did I ever lose X amount of weight? Were those scales always broken? Were those scales always wrong? Were those scales, trying to deal with being wrong and being out? And did they ever read right? All of those things recently, which then leads to, so what's the point to any of this? If I thought I was losing £3 a week, £4 a week, whatever, and I wasn't, then what's the point? But luckily for me, there are other reminders that things have been working and things have been moving in the right direction, like a change in clothes size, quite drastic as well. Big thing I've been saying to people recently is that I've gone 6 notches on my weight belt, and each notch is an inch. So from where I started on these sort of rigorous working out phases and the different types of running that I've been doing, that my brother-in-law has been sorting out for me, I have essentially lost 6 inches around my waist. Whether the scales say that or not, you can't argue with that. But it's also, it's difficult to keep going and keep doing something when you thought you'd achieved something that you hadn't, or maybe hadn't. There was a conversation this evening about the fuck it, and how many times, you know, a younger person, a younger version would say, "Oh fuck it, I'm done with this," or that sort of thing. Now that's not really the case, not really as easy to do that. It's not really possible to just say fuck it. And maybe this is the whole internal battle that's going on. Maybe this is the problem. And maybe this is why I just want to sit, play computer games and eat pizza. Because that's me internally trying to rebel against the you can't just say fuck it anymore. Maybe that's it. Maybe that's it in a nutshell. I was having a conversation, same conversation a couple of times with a couple of different people. Obviously, we've had New Year. New Year was 3 days ago at this point in time. At time of recording, it was 3 days ago. And just talking about like the differences in the New Year's. So in years gone by, New Year, biggest night of the year. And you had to know where you were going, and you had to know who you were going with, and did you need tickets, and did you need train tickets, and was there going to be a train running, and oh my god, it's going to be the best night ever, and all of that. Do you need a hotel? Can you get a hotel? Can you get back from where you're going? Do you need to book a taxi? All of that. I remember going and doing a New Year celebration on New Year's Day rather than New Year's Eve. All sorts of things like that. This club, that club, this club night. This place has got it's a club, but it also has a fairground attached. Just all of the oh my god, you have to have done this and you have to have done that, and you have to have finished work at a particular time, you have to have left early, and all of the planning and making sure that everything was right to go and have the best night of the year, versus trying to work out which film you're going to watch, trying to work out what you're going to have for your tea, trying to work out what game you're going to play, trying to really assess what the best non-alcoholic beer to drink on a New Year's Eve is, trying to work out if you've got time to fit a cigar in. Obviously the weather's not great, so you don't want to be outside for too long. Is it really the weather to smoke a cigar? We'll have to see. And the big question, the one on everybody's lips, are you going to make it to midnight without falling asleep on the sofa? I will come to, or I will answer all of those questions Yes, I did. I did make it to midnight. I actually made it until nearly 1 o'clock. But that was to make sure that the fireworks had died down so that I could send the dog off to bed. The rest of the questions I will answer. But obviously this is an age thing. You know, I can't say I've got a real burning desire to go and get in a nightclub at, I don't know, 8, 9, 10 in the evening and go all the way through to 6 o'clock in the morning. But there is that part of me that probably still would if there wasn't all of the, you know, everything else. Got to get up and walk the dog and, you know, parent and stuff like that. Responsibilities. That was the word I was looking for. Without the responsibilities, maybe there would be, you know, just find a little nightclub somewhere. Who knows? So, the thing that I was alluding to talking about, the scales broke. Had to get new scales, and I think we can all agree the danger of new scales is, let's face it, they're never going to weigh you lighter than the ones that you've had to replace. We all know that. Well, it's like an unwritten rule. It's like you might get it in a fortune cookie. You know, you crack open your fortune cookie and it says, new scales will never weigh you lighter. The question is, how much heavier will they weigh you? Well, I will tell you. Does anybody remember the £10 that I was wanting to lose in the month of December? And actually ended up losing £11 the day before the discovery of the broken scales. Well, guess what, kids? Yes, that's right. The new scales are weighing me £11 heavier than the old scales, essentially putting me back to square one. Beginning of December, 1st of December is where we are. So we're behind track by a month. A month is going to be 4 Monday weigh-ins. I've got a feeling probably not going to go as well as it did in December. And I've struggled with it. I've really struggled with it. It's really bothered me. Because although it might not seem it to the outside world, there is a plan. There is an idea of the Patrick Bateman. There is a plan. But the plan goes like this. £2 a week is £8 a month. Now, I'm going to say something now, and I appreciate that this is absolutely not the case, but £8 a month sounds a little bit like a stone. Obviously it doesn't, because it's £1 more than half a stone. But it's also £1 closer to a stone. A little while ago, probably a year ago, the plan was to lose £3 a week. Now, I'm an old man and that's not possible, so we had to go with 2. But the objective was to get to what I refer to as my previous weight, or sometimes I refer to it as my fighting weight. That was the weight that I managed to get down to last time. I currently sit 2 stone above that weight. But I have lost 2 stone, whether you tell me the scales were broken or not. So, The idea was to get to the back end of March and be basically at what's known in my head as first target weight. First target weight is the weight that I managed to previously get down to when I was running and walking and working out like an absolute lunatic. Then there's second target weight. Second target weight was the weight I got down to in a really unhealthy way, which I intend to not do this time, but is still a target. Then we have what's known as beyond. Because realization of looking at like pictures and stuff from that time, in my head I was like, I was super skinny, I was super thin, I managed to get rid of all that weight, I managed to get down in weight. I was thin. Absolutely not the case. Was still massively overweight at that point in time. Would probably need to lose, from first target weight, would probably need to lose another 3 stone to get down to something that might be described as healthy. Second target weight, 2 stone. So, still a ways to go. But originally the plan was to get to the back end of March, middle to back end of March, and be at the first target weight. However, we're now a minimum of a month behind. So now you're looking April, with no blips, with no accidents, with no nothing. You're now looking April. Then you need to add your wiggle room. You need to add the weeks where you don't lose any weight, the weeks where you put weight on for whatever reason, so on and so forth. Probably need to add a month to that. That already brings us to May, June time. Nearly half the year's gone by that point. And that was it. That was the internal battle I was dealing with. The problem was the scales were broken, and when new scales turned up, well, hey, you just lost a month of your life. Congratulations. So I've been struggling. It's been difficult. That's about all I have to say about it. I am trying to recover, slowly but surely. And today's Monday, so we've already had our first weigh-in of the year. But we've already had our first weigh-in of the year. So it's all downhill from here? Uphill from here? Downhill? Downhill probably works better in that situation. It's all to play for. It's all to play for. Right. Let's talk entertainment, and boy, is there a lot of it. So, still watching Burn Notice. Nothing new to report there, so I'll just skip past that. I have watched 2 films. First was one that I was wanting to watch. Second one, a little bit against my will. But we'll get to that. So I watched 2021 version of Suicide Squad. This was a film I was really looking forward to seeing. This was a film that I really wanted to see. This was a film that everything I'd seen, clips and various bits and bobs of the film, looked great. And I'm not going to tell you otherwise. I feel James Gunn has probably been the best person to deal with Harley Quinn. She's definitely the best thing to have come out of this version of the film. Whether I think Margot Robbie is the right actress for that role, and largely I did, but they just couldn't get that character right. And after a while, I started to wonder whether it was maybe her. Turns out, probably not her. Because James Gunn seems to have got it right. I really enjoyed it. Now, 2 caveats to this. One, I am the only person that I have spoken to recently who has seen this film who did enjoy it. So, in that, statistically, either I'm wrong or everyone else is. Maybe it doesn't have to be that way, but... So, something that I do need to mention, and I'm not sure if this is anything or is it nothing. And it's hard to explain, but there were points in it where I wasn't sure if I was bored. Now, I need to reiterate, I wasn't sure. Part of me wonders whether it was just a bit too much to process. Part of me wonders whether I wasn't in the right frame of mind, and I do think that might have been it. I do wonder if I just wasn't in the right frame of mind to A, watch a film, B, watch that film. I think I might have been a little bit too focused on... I don't know what. My mind wasn't in it, which probably wasn't a great start. But I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the characters that they had in this one. I enjoyed the returning characters. Idris was very good in it. The guy that plays Flag was very good. I also very much enjoyed the actors they had in it that played characters that weren't in it as much, shall we say. I quite enjoyed John Cena as Peacemaker. I liked it. I enjoyed it. I think I need to watch it again, but I already know that it probably won't be any time soon, and I'm starting to wonder if there's a part of me that's masking the fact that I didn't like it. I don't know, and maybe that's why I need to watch it again. Bearing in mind I am a person that watched the original Suicide Squad and hated it with a passion, and then having watched it 1 or maybe 2 more times since, I actually quite like it. So maybe I'm the wrong man for the job. Who knows? So, I watched another film. Against my better judgment, and somewhat against my will. I watched Godzilla vs. Kong. This was simultaneously the biggest pile of garbage ever, and okay. How, I hear you ask? Oh, don't you worry, I'm going to let you know how. So, the story was such utter bollocks. I am surprised they managed to tell it with a straight face. I would recommend, if you have any intention of watching this film, maybe get a picture of the Earth's core in relation to like the rest of the Earth, and just bear that in mind when you go into this film. Utter garbage. Also, you've got the fact that they directly carbon copy steal an entire section of the film from an episode of Evangelion. Neon Genesis Evangelion did exactly the same thing and hoped nobody would notice. So there's that. But, and here's the but, and here's the thing that didn't redeem it, but I was like, okay, I'll allow it. After all this time, after all of these films, 2 Godzilla films of this recent batch, Godzilla and then King of Monsters, which were both garbage. King of Monsters is hands down one of the worst films I've ever seen. But then you've got Kong, the Kong from this franchise, which I really enjoyed. I realised it had an amazing soundtrack. Oh, it was quite a good film. It was quite enjoyable. Put the two together, and what do you get? But the one thing that we did get was finally a big battle. You've got monsters, and it's like, oh, should we make these monsters fight? Yeah, let's make these monsters fight. Sweet! But let's find out what Eleven from Stranger Things is doing while the fight's going on, shall we? And let's not show any of the fight. What? Speaking of Millie Bobby Brown, she was in Godzilla vs. Kong. If she hadn't have been, you wouldn't have noticed. The kid from Deadpool 2, he was also in it. Again, if he hadn't have been, you wouldn't have noticed. 2 characters that were in the film, and the whole time you're like, why are they even here? What purpose are they serving to the film, the story, or any of it? Could have literally not been there, wouldn't have noticed. So, it was terrible. It was utter garbage. But, if your intention is to see big monster battle, finally, after all this time, you get your big monster battle. I will say that. So, it's got that going for it. Let's talk computer games. And here's something. After last week's podcast, I had to immediately start a list and add to it 2 games that I didn't talk about last week. Those 2 games are games that got for the girls, got for the family, that were played over Christmas. Never even mentioned them. So we got Big Brain Academy and the new Mario Party, which I think is Mario Party Superstars. There seems to be an element of this Mario Party where they want you to remember all of the Mario Parties that have been before it. Let's talk Big Brain Academy. Big Brain Academy is learning fun is what I would call it. It's designed around, hey, let's have fun, and maybe you'll learn something at the same time. Obviously aimed at kids, but adults can join in as well and have just as much fun. And it's fun. My youngest wouldn't be able to play it. My middle daughter can, if you put the difficulty right down, and there is a difficulty design for younger players. My eldest can play it with relative ease, to the point that she's definitely a competitor, and obviously me and Leon can play along. It's got a good variety of mini games, and they are all designed around sort of a learning based thing. Both of my older children have had comments from their school regarding their maths, something that they should definitely focus on. And I saw a demo for this game which we played. I noticed that it was that some of the games were very much math based. Which is the bigger number, which is the next biggest number, sort of thing. And I was like, hey, let's do fun learning. So, Big Brain Academy Good fun. Mario Party Superstars. I believe that's what it's called. I might be wrong. At the end of the day, it's Mario Party. It's more Mario Party. I don't know what to tell you. You have a board. You go around the board trying to get the stars. It's massively biased towards the computer players. It's yeah. It's just Let's just say it's always best to play as all 4 characters. It's fun. Something that Leanne mentioned to me was that we should have definitely got these games going earlier in the Christmas break so that we could get more playtime with them. So I think it's something that maybe at the weekend we'll get more opportunity to play these games and get a bit more out of them. But like I say, I did want to make a note of the fact that we have played them and give a small review. Admittedly, we only had like kind of one go on each. So there you go. That's Big Brain Academy, Mario Party, both on the Switch, if anybody needs to know. So let's talk PS4/PS5. Now, everything that I'm going to talk about here is played on the PS5. One is a PS5 exclusive game. The other 2 are available on the PS4. But, and here's the big but, big but. The big but here is that if you put them in your PS5, you get free PS5 upgrade versions of these games. Woo flippin' who? Big, honestly, massive fan of the free PS5 upgrade. Free PS5 upgrade works on the principle that as long as you have the PS4 disc still in your possession and it's in your machine when you want to play, you can download and actually play the PS5 version of the game. Fantastic. First game on the list is Guardians of the Galaxy. So, I was super wary of this game. Super wary. Initially, it was announced, there's a Guardians of the Galaxy game coming out. My response, what, like that Avengers garbage? No, it's different to that. Oh, I'm sure. And that was that. Then, it's gonna be like this. It's gonna look like this. You're gonna play it like this. All right, sounds fine. Then it was like, so here's what you do. You control Star-Lord. Okay, and you can command the other Guardians of the Galaxy to do things. What? Yet another example of play as the shittest member of the team and not have access to the other members of the team who are wildly better than the character you've given us. That sounds terrible. So, not gonna lie, by this point I was pretty turned off by this game. I was just like, this sounds like a terrible idea. Then you start seeing things. This is what it looks like. This is what it plays like. Oh, it's great. It's like, yeah, okay, whatever. Then it came out. And then it started getting good reviews. And I don't mean like 6 out of 10 from IGN. I mean 9 out of 10. 9.5 out of 10. Across the board. I was like, what the flip is going on here? Apparently, turns out, this is a good game. Oh, okay, right, cool. Let me look into it a bit more. oh, you play like this and you do this, but actually the controls are really, really good. And you play Star-Lord and you've got these guns and you do this, that, and the other, and you got the rocket boots and you've got the face mask thing, and it's really good. It's really well done, and the story's good, and all of this. So I was like, fuck it, let's roll the dice on this one. It can't be any worse than Avengers. So I've been playing various things on the PS5. Got the free upgrade, PS4 to PS5. Games that I got for Christmas were bought on the PS4 because they were bought before there was a PS5 in the house. And that is why it's been done that way round, in case you need to know. So, let's get all the bad out of the way, shall we? And I hate to say it, but there is a little bit, maybe a fair bit. Let's just get through it quickly. Every now and then there's a game that comes along where the makers of the game are like, oh my god, the story we have got here is amazing. It's awesome. It's fantastic. It's so good. It's so well done. And they ram it down your throat. But they're right. But that doesn't make for a great playing experience. When you kind of sat twiddling your thumbs because you played a little bit of game and now you're watching minutes of story, whether that story is good, superb, fantastic or not, it's not as much fun for a game. Because you want to play it, you want to get your teeth into it, you want to... Unfortunately, you don't want to feel like you're watching a movie. Unfortunately, this game does do that. It's got a really good story, it's got a really good storyline, it's not anything new. You know, you've seen it all before, but it's well executed. But there's maybe a little bit too much. It's like, oh, we want to tell you the story. It's like, that's great, but I'm here to play a game. I mean, I've made it sound negative, but it's not that bad. It's a good story. One thing that I will say is, I've had to look up loads for this game. There's a lot of points in the game where I just haven't been able to find where I'm supposed to go or how I'm supposed to do the next bit. And I've had to look up a lot of stuff, which really surprises me. I feel that a game like this is and should be quite linear. And it is. It really is. But I get lost. I get points in time where I just don't know what the game wants me to do. It's very strange. One point in time, it was like, the game's like, oh, you can't go that way. Don't go that way. You need to go this way. And I'm like, there's nowhere to go. And when I looked up a video, and it was this tiny little gap that you needed to go through. I was like, I would have never found that. It just feels really weird. It's a little bit glitchy. Now, I don't know whether that's anything to do with downloading a different version of the game than the game I own, like the PS5 version. I've had one major crash, and I've had a couple of bits where the game just hasn't done what it's supposed to, and I just think I can't do it, and in the end I've had to reload the checkpoint, and then it does it fine. Few more than I'd like. You know, every game you kind of accept it a little bit. This has had it a little bit more than I'd like for what should be a fairly well polished and what should be a fairly well patched game by this point. And my final gripe with the game is they clearly don't want any swearing. So what they have done is they have used made up swear words. Falark is the most common one, and they use it all the time. They use it non-stop. stop. They use it multiple times in a sentence. And it's really flarking annoying. I wish they'd have just gone with the swearing, or just not bothered. Just not used it. It's super annoying because it's massively overused. That is, at this point in time, all of the bad stuff out of the way. I feel, because I've played it a lot, I'm basically at the back end. All of the bad stuff said, it's a great game. It's super enjoyable. The story is great, even if it gets in the way of the game. The characters are very different to the characters you know from the movies. This is not a game from the movies. It's not linked directly to the Guardians of the Galaxy films. It's not linked directly to the Avengers movies. It's comic book Guardians of the Galaxy. They look different to how they do in the films. Obviously a little bit, but quite noticeably as well. Drax looks quite different. Gamora looks quite different. Rocket and Groot are basically the same. Star-Lord looks a bit different. It's a lot of fun. It's a really fun game. The powers, the ability to use different members of the team, that was the thing that I thought was going to let the game down. It's not. It's a really strong way of doing it. Like the interface for getting people to do stuff, really well done. It's a really good game. It's a super solid game. It's also beautiful because of the use of things like pinks and purples and reds and greens. It's just really nice looking. And it's just a lot of fun. And as we know, the main objective for games should be that they should be fun. And this one is. This is one I'm already doing I hope this has got a new game plus, because I'll definitely rinse it again. I hope that it's got the ability to let me go back and get some of the other costumes. Things like that. I'm already at that stage and I haven't finished it yet. I imagine I'll finish it in the next 2 or 3 days, depending on playtime and stuff. Probably not going to get much today. Probably won't get any tomorrow. So we're looking Wednesday before I really get back to it, I imagine. So that is Guardians of the Galaxy. Moving on to Deathloop. Now then, I don't know whether I mentioned too much about Deathloop, and I don't know where I will have told you I was up to. I got up to a point where I was right at the back end of the game. You've got to go to a party and you've got to do a particular thing at a party. You have to identify somebody. And the first few times I tried it, it was really hard to do. And it felt nigh on impossible because of the way that it went. Who knows what the real idea around this is, but Deathloop is stupidly hard at the back end of the game. So you have to identify one of the people at the party, and once you've done that, you've basically done all the individual pieces you need to do to start moving to the end of the game. I did this eventually with help from the internet and from Leanne riding shotgun, and together we moved through the party. And although at the point in time I died, it still registered that I'd gathered the information. So then it opened up what was basically the end game. And what it is you need to do all the bits from all the bits of the day in one day. So I go off and do the first bit, I go off and do the second bit, I go off and kill 2 of the people you need to kill. And that brings us to the back end of the game. And then, honestly, just baffling choices as to why they would let you play a game all the way up to this point in time and then be like, let's make it ridiculously difficult. Also, let's add an element to the game where you don't know if the game is broken or if you're just doing it wrong. I did this particular section of the game, I think it might have been 8 to 10 times. I was tearing my hair out. However, after many goes, a lot of effort, a lot of trial and effort, finally managed to wipe out all of the people that needed to be taken care of and move to the last bit of the game, which I did the last bit of the game and have now finished Deathloop. So, here's the thing. Deathloop is a fantastic game. It really is. It's really well done. It's really well made. Obviously, you can see that there is a lot of Dishonored influence there. See, it is made by the same people. So on and so forth. Why they decided to make the very end of the game so ridiculously hard, I don't know, other than there's that weird, twisted aspect that probably makes sense, but it still doesn't make it okay. I have finished it and I am aware that there are different endings. I didn't actually finish it the way I wanted to, so really I should go back and do it again so I can get a different ending. But man, I don't think I can. I don't think I've got it in me. We shall see. Let's leave it there. Finally, played another game. Another game I got for Christmas. This game is called Riders Republic. It's a game that came at a weird time, really, because for some reason I'd been playing SSX on Game Pass on the Xbox, and everybody in the house had been playing it and really enjoying it. And I was like, oh man, they don't make games like this anymore. And out of nowhere appeared Riders Republic, a game so heavily influenced by SSX, you'd think it was SSX. I described it to somebody today as if Forza Horizon and SSX had a baby, it would be Riders Republic. There was a game called Steep a little while ago, which was supposed to be this really big thing, and it just never took off. Riders Republic is a massive map, like snowy mountains, deserty canyons, so on and so forth. You have mountain bikes, downhill bikes, snowboard, skis, jetpack, wingsuity things, and wingsuits. You also get a snowmobile for getting around places. I believe there is another sport which I haven't unlocked yet, but if I'm honest, I'm not sure what that might be. We shall find out. Now then, here's the thing. I was really looking forward to this game, and I was like, oh yeah, I can't wait. Oh, I'm so excited. And then a good friend of mine told me, it's online only. I was like, what? There's no mention of that in any of the there's no mention of it in any reviews. There's no mention of it in any videos. You can just play yourself with like computer characters. No, it's online only. It's absolutely online only. You have to play it online. You can't play it single player. There's no such thing. I was like, that sounds terrible for somebody who loathes online gaming. That sounded like the worst idea I'd ever heard. Now, I got it for Christmas. I got it for Christmas as a gift. So I did the same. I did the PS4 to PS5 upgrade for free. And I basically went, well, I'll get to it. I was like, that's not fair. Somebody bought me this. Somebody paid money for this. So I need to play this game. And if I put it on and I don't like it, it just has to go into the category of it wasn't for me. And I'll maybe see if it's okay to trade it in and get something else. So, Sunday, I had free time and I was like, look, rather than just rinsing or finishing Guardians of the Galaxy, let's give this game a try. So I put it on about 11 o'clock. So Leanne comes back at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and I'm like, I'm livid, I'm seething. I'm like, I can't believe it. Not because of how disappointed with the game I was, because what I'd been told about this game, which admittedly put me off it quite a lot, was categorically not the case. Yes, there is an online element to this game. But when you start doing races and things, you select the solo option and you get ghosts from other players. So you're basically playing on your own. You're playing solo, as the thing says. And it's a lot of fun. Now then, here's a caveat. Some things are not very easy. And I'm playing on the easiest setting they've got, and some things are not easy. The one thing that I wanted to really enjoy playing, the jet wing thing, it's not a wingsuit, but it's got jets. It's like a jetpack. Is super difficult. It's really hard. You crash all the time. It rewards you with flying close to objects and close to the ground, which in itself is quite difficult. The wingsuit's the same, and I haven't really advanced in those areas. However, snowboarding, skiing, mountain biking, downhill biking, I am loving it. I'm not great at it. I'm not very good. There are times I come first. There are times that I win things. There are times I come last. But if you do a race and you complete the race, you get a star. And the whole principle of the game is collect stars, unlock stuff, get new bikes, get new skis, do all of that, get new costumes, whatever. And again, at this point in time, touch wood, it's fun. Or at least it has been. And I've played a good few hours of it. And that time has been spent well. And it's been fun to do and fun to play. So, if you like that sort of thing, Riders Republic might be the game for you. That's it. That's the podcast. Initially, maybe it sounded like I didn't have a lot to talk about. And an hour and 7 minutes later, well, here we are. Just want to say thank you from me for anybody returning for another year of podcasts into 2022. And again, Happy New Year to you all. And I'll catch you on the next one. So there you go. What do you think to that? A New Year podcast done weeks into the new year. Big thank you to everybody for joining us doing podcasts, listening to podcasts, making podcasts. We appreciate it. Everybody here at CookieCast loves you for joining us. And if you want to get more involved, you can subscribe, like, share, comment, or you can even jump over to theCookieCast.com and you can send us emails, social media love, all of that sort of stuff. So there we go, that's it. Till next time, I'm going to say bye, and I'll see you then.